Now last time, in the first video, I talked a little bit about a lot of things, including reduction, and I also kept mentioning harmonies, and I recognized that I didn't spend a whole lot of time yet, in fact I didn't spend any time yet, talking about functions. So that's what we're going to do in this very short video. That tune is something I just sort of made up very quickly because it emphasizes various functions that harmony can provide in a tonal piece of music. This is a piece in F. I picked F just randomly. So we have the tonic as F, right? The function of the tonic is to be a kind of home. Things depart from home and return to home, right? You leave home in the morning to go to work or meet with friends or whatever you do, and then you return home, right? You can think of this analogy of a departure and return as being a fairly integral part of what makes tonal music tick the way that it does. And while there are many tonal systems in operation in popular music, and even some forms of popular music break away from tonal systems altogether, usually there's some kind of overarching tonicality involved, something that speaks to a centricity, something that speaks to a home, right? Now, there are certain tunes, like we'll see much later by REM and various other popular groups, that seem to push away from that never state the home, so to speak, but we'll worry about that much later. This tune's very simple. I wrote it basically in a sort of 19th century manner. It's not meant to be anything particularly wonderful here. It's just emulating or exemplifying what's going on with the tonal system. So we have this opening tonic, right? And the tonic here is just establishing the three notes of the tonic chord, in this case F, A, and C. Notice that in my melody here I have a little passing function, right? So I start there, I pass through there to get here. Now I have a 4 chord. Notice that this time the 4 chord will have various functions, right? It's often said to be a predominant or have a subdominant function, and those are actually two different things. Subdominant is in some ways descriptive. It just means that it's the dominant below the tonic, so it's a 5th down from tonic or a 4th above tonic, right? So it's the 4 chord. In essence, that's not telling you a whole lot. A predominant, the assertion of it being a predominant means that it goes to dominant, and then the dominant will function to go to tonic. We'll talk about that in a moment. Here, that's not what's happening. Here, we have the subdominant chord really just acting as a set of neighbors to the overarching tonic. So really this is what we would call a prolongation of tonic. All that really matters so far is the tonic. That was all tonic. Then this is kind of like a little upper neighbor, right? And I might reduce it to just being, but the way that it works out when I've written it out as a whole tune is, right? And we're back to where we started. Hence prolongation. We haven't really gone anywhere. Now this time the subdominant will be used a little longer, and in fact this is a sort of a tricky one. Wait, how did I do this? Right. So we have the subdominant here, and this time it's not exactly just a subdominant, because this could be thought of as a 2 chord because it's got that G in there, right? We're going to see, and I'll do this in a later video, that both the 4 chord and the 1 chord will often have a 6th added to it. So in this case, if we're thinking of the 4 chord as B flat D F, which it is, and we can add that G, right? That's no different really than what we call a G minor 7 chord in first inversion. We'll talk about inversions later, but that would be spelled G, B flat, D, and F, right? So I've just mixed up those notes, but in essence here they're functioning the same way. In this case, it's another longer departure from tonic before we return to tonic. So we have this and we're back to tonic. In fact, the same disposition as before. And then I start the melody over again. Right? right? Now this time, this is a true predominant because it's getting us to that dominant, and then that dominant finally pushes us back to tonic. So the dominant is a source of tension that pushes to tonic. The subdominant chord can be used both as part of a prolongation of tonic, or it can be used as a predominant, meaning that it will go to tonic. That's it for today. The next video we'll talk a little bit more about harmony.